Hey everyone, I welcome you all to this session. And as we have started our SQL series and we were discussing about basic topics from SQL or SQL basics. So today we will talk about creating a table and then we will discuss how to insert records, multiple records in a table. And then we will talk about dropping a table, right? So let's talk about that now. First of all, here I have selected a practice database. So the table that I will create will be in this particular database, right? If I will expand this database and this particular tables in practice, then you can see that as of now, we are not having any table by the name test, but now I will be creating a table by the name test and then we will see how it appears here and how we can insert the values in that particular table, right? So let's say I want to create a table by the name test. So I can simply write create table. You have to write it in this way, right? Create table and then the table name. So the table name is test. And then inside the parentheses or the round brackets, you are required to write the column names and their data types. So let's say we are having two columns in our table. So I'll write column one. This is the name of the first column and let this particular column be having the data type int. It means that the values in this particular column will be integral values, or this particular column is having the data type as integer. And let's say we have one more column in this particular table by the name column 2, and let's say its data type is varchar. Fine. So in this manner, you can write the SQL query and now you are required to execute it. So shift up arrow key and control E. So here you can see the message that command completed successfully. Now, if I will run this particular statement, that is select all from the table that we have created, the name of the table that we have created. So it is test. The IntelliSense will show you once you type one or two characters from the table name. So now when you will run this particular statement, shift up arrow key, control E. So here you can see that we have a table by the name test, and these are the two columns in this particular table. And obviously we have created it, but there are no records in this particular table, right? There is no record. So now we will talk about inserting records in this table. But before this, if I will click here on this refresh button, and now if I will expand this tables, so now you can see that here we have a table by the name test, right? Because we have created this particular table. Now I am interested in inserting records in this particular table. So I will write insert into, you have to write it in this way, and then you have to specify or write the name of the table. So I will write insert into test, and then you have to write values. And then inside the parentheses, you are required to write the values. So I will write 1 comma a. So this particular statement will insert 1 in column 1, and corresponding to that value, it will insert a in column 2. Now I'll press shift up arrow key, control E. So here you can see it displays the message one row affected. It means one row was inserted in this case. Now if I will run the select statement, shift up arrow key, control E. So this displays, this shows the output that we have a table in which there is one record, and that particular record is 1a, right? The value of column 1 is 1 and value in column 2 is a. So that's how we can insert record, or even we can insert multiple records in a table. Now let's talk about inserting multiple records in a table. So you can simply write insert into, then you have to write the table name. So here we have test, then you have to write values. Inside the parentheses, you have to write the record. So let the second record be 2 comma b. You can write it in this way because the first column is having integral data type and second column is having the varchar data type, right? Now then I'll write comma, and then you are required to specify the next record. So I'll write 3 comma c. Then again, I want to insert one more record, so I can write it after a comma, 4 comma d. And now when I will run this particular statement, control E, so you will see that it displays the message 3 rows affected. Now let's run the select statement again, shift up arrow key, control E. So now you can see that we are having a total of 4 records. Before this, we were having only one record because here we inserted only one record. And by using this particular statement, or in this manner, you can insert multiple records in a particular table, right? So that's how it can be done. Now let's say if I want to write something like this. insert into table name, that is test, and let's write values. Let's write only 2. And now if I'll execute this particular statement, you can see that it displays an error, right? This is happening because in this particular table, we have 2 columns, right? And you have specified the value only for 1 column. You have to specify inside these parentheses, you have to specify exactly the number of the values which are equal to number of the columns, right? For all the columns, you have to specify the value if you have not specified the column name after writing the table name, that is after test. Now, in order to explain this, if I will write, if let's say after test, I will write the name of first column, in that case, it will not throw an error, right? So shift up arrow key control E. Now it shows the message that one row was affected, right? It didn't show any error because here I've specified the name of the column. I'm specifying that in this particular column, I want this value 2 to be inserted. But corresponding to this 2, the value in the second column will be null. So let's run the select statement in order to see that. So shift up arrow key control E. Right. So here we inserted this record, that is 2 comma B. Here you can see. But in this particular statement, when I inserted the value only in the first column, that is column 1, as I've specified here the name of this column, corresponding to this value, since I've not specified the value in the second column, so here you can see that there's a null, right? Similarly, you can insert the value in the second column also. So let's say I'll write insert into test. Let's say I want to write column 2. You can close it and you can write values. Let's say I want to insert F in this particular record, shift up arrow key control E. So it displays the message one row affected. Now let's run the select statement, shift up arrow key control E. So now you can see that this record was inserted because here you have specified that I want a value to be inserted only in the second column while there are 2 columns in this particular table. So that's why the corresponding value in column 1 is null. So we have learned that if you will not specify the name of the column after the table name, then you will have to provide the values for all the columns inside each parenthesis that you can see here, right? Parenthesis pair basically that we have. So in that particular round brackets, you will have to provide the values for all the columns if you are not specifying the column name after the table name. And if you have specified the name of any particular column, or let's say more than 1 columns, even let's say there's a table that is having 5 columns and you have specified the name of 3 columns after the name of the table, then you will have to specify the name, the values for those particular columns here in parenthesis, right? So else it will throw an error. So that's how it works. Now let's say I want to drop this table. So you can simply write drop table and then specify the table name. So the name of the table is test. Shift up arrow key control E. So commands completed successfully. Now if I will run the select statement, so it displays the message that invalid object name because we have basically this table was dropped, right? Now if I'll click here on this refresh button, all right, it may take some time. Okay. Now you cannot see the name of this test table here because it was dropped, right? So these were some of the statements, SQL statements and SQL queries that we have discussed. We'll discuss about other topics in the upcoming videos. So we'll meet in the next session. Till then, thank you. Bye-bye. I hope this video was helpful. Thank you.